Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am doing my book chat for And I Darken today. Two things real quick, actually three things real quick, all relating to my LASIK surgery that I had this past Friday, so just 2 days ago. I have a bit of a red eye situation. Don't mind that, I'm fine. And I hope it's not visible in the video. There's still an indentation on my forehead from the little goggles that I have to sleep with for a week. It leaves these indentations like for hours. I've literally been up for hours and I still have it. So I'm trying to cover it with my hair. Also, cannot wear eye makeup. So if I look sickly or like really tired or something, it's just because I don't have any eye makeup on. I'm sure none of you care or probably would even notice other than the red eye. That's pretty noticeable. Okay, into this book, which was one of my favorite books of the year. It's by Kiersten White, and I gave this book 5 pushinicorns. And the overarching reasons I gave it 5 pushinicorns is that it had some great world building, great characters that I really cared about a lot, and that the sibling relationship in this book was the primary focus over the romantic relationships happening. So I buddy read this with Becca from Books and Looks, and we had so much fun buddy reading this, or at least I know I did. I hope she did. I think she did. We would send each other our reactions on Snapchat. We had set chapters every day. And then, at the end of the day, we would watch each other's reactions. We plan to buddy read Now I Rise, the follow-up, the sequel to And I Darken, next month, I believe, in November is when we plan on doing that. So that should be fun as well. So what this book is about, if you haven't heard about it, I think probably most of you have, but it's a Vlad the Impaler retelling, essentially. Our main character is Ladislav, or Lada, Dracul, and then her younger brother, Radu. It's set in what is the Danube, right? Danube Basin, where it's like Transylvania, Bulgaria, Wallachia, and at this time, the Ottoman Empire. So Lada and Radu have an older brother, and then their father, and that's their family. Their mom dipped out years ago because their father is super cruel. Like, he's just a cruel, awful human being, and their older brother, can't remember his name right now, but he's also he's basically a little clone of their dad. And Lada and Radu get sent to the Ottoman Empire, basically to be held as hostages or like collateral, like for their dad to behave and not like rebel against the Ottoman Empire. They're keeping his kids, like, hey, if you mess up, we're gonna kill your kids. So like I said, it's Vlad the Impaler, like reimagining, retelling. Instead of Vlad, we have the female main character of Lada. Vlad the Impaler really did have a younger brother named Radu. And then there also was an actual sultan of the Ottoman Empire named Mohammed, who is another main character as the book goes on. So for my overarching reasons, the first, or I don't remember which order I said it in, but the first one I'm going to talk about is the great characters. I felt like they were really consistent throughout the novel. Like, they were who they were. I didn't feel like anybody was ever acting like out of character. And something that I really appreciated about this was a variation in characters, in personality. Instead of having just a bunch of people that are like, oh, you know, they're nice, like the main characters that you're supposed to like, they're all nice and like friendly, and even if they're like hard on the outside, they're like really softies at the core. But here we had individuals with very different personalities. Lada being the main the main one for this, she's just mean. She sees the world in a very harsh light. She had a lot more experience with their father and their older brother tormenting her, and she watched her father tormenting their mother and kind of learned early on, like, she's the type of personality that she took that and she learned, okay, I have to be really harsh and like a hard ass. And despite maybe caring about some people around her, she still treats them very cold. And you very rarely see a slip in that, because it's not a facade. Like, it's not like ooh, I have to have this tough exterior. She just is tough. She just doesn't know how to be any other way. Like, I think of Aelin from the Throne of Glass series. I guess she's like the trope of like the strong female character who's just kind of bitchy sometimes and like snarky and like blah, blah, blah. But it's pretty clear that it's like a facade that she puts up to try to like act tough. Whereas Lada, that's just who she is at her core. And I liked her despite all of this extreme harshness. I still liked her as a character. Radu, on the other hand, her younger brother, is a freaking sweet baby angel. Like, he is so precious. He's very sensitive, very friendly. He's just like a kind soul. And then Mohammed is, like I said, one of the, he's in the royal family in the Ottoman Empire where they get sent, and they eventually become friends with him. And he was okay. He was whatever. He was nice. And I didn't care about him all that much. He kind of got on my nerves a little bit. And there's a part towards the end where like his kind of immaturity and like pettiness really comes out hardcore. And I was like, ugh. We also get some gay representation in this novel, which was really cool. It's set in this time, in this era, in this world where being gay is absolutely not okay, which was unfortunate to see happening to characters that you cared about, that you knew they weren't going to be accepted at all, and they had to hide how they really felt and who they really were. And so that sucked, of course, but again, authentic to this world. And at one point, there's like a marriage of convenience that happens with characters who are gay. And it's upsetting that a person would have to do that ever, but in this world and in the time that it was supposed to be set in and everything, it made sense that they would have to do that. And the way that it was done, it was like very sweet, and you ended up, or at least I ended up like appreciating it, that this happened, because it was, unfortunately, the best thing for everybody involved. So then another thing, for the overarching reasons I gave it 5 stars, was the great world building. I appreciated that it was diverse, with the gay representation, of course, but also it's different than a lot of fantasy novels that are set in like a Western, medieval England, like esque world. And this was set in, like I said, the Danube Basin, which is more Eastern cultures. So yeah, I appreciated that it was a different setting than you often see in fantasy. And it was really detailed without being overwhelming, for me anyway. There was a lot of political intrigue happening, and I never felt like overwhelmed by it. So then moving on to the third and final reason that I absolutely loved this, and probably the biggest reason, is the sibling relationship focus. This was absolutely my favorite part of this novel. So like I was saying, Lada is really harsh, and she's very harsh and sometimes just kind of mean and cruel to Radu, but it's still very clear despite that their sibling bond like goes really deep. Like Lada will go fight somebody off who's picking on Radu, who's like beating him up or something, but she will really quickly turn right around and be like pissed off at him, like, oh my god, why can't you protect yourself? What are you gonna do if I'm not around? Jeez, like, quit being such a baby. Don't be so weak. Like, she just sees him as weak, and in her mind, in her world, that is unacceptable. So when people need saving, she just like can't fathom that. And she obviously cares about Radu because she feels this innate urge to protect him. But yeah, she's just annoyed with him for not being able to stand up for himself, because she's always had to stand up for herself. She just, like I said, she learned very early on that absolute strength is the only thing that is gonna like make her survive in this household. Radu mostly seems to understand that Lada is just the way that she is. But I think also part of it is that he is literally just that kind, like that kind-hearted, that even in the face of someone treating him kind of like shit, if he cares about them, he will continue to care about them, and he will continue to be kind to them. There were a few parts, 2 in particular, where their bond and their connection with each other was kind of put out into the light and amplified, and you really saw it, like, wow, they really do care about each other, and both times got me right in the feels, like really bad. The second part that happened made me tear up, like I was wiping tears away. They proved that when it comes down to it, they are the most important thing in each other's lives. and they will sacrifice things that they want or sacrifice other people that they care about in order to be there for each other. And like, I seriously, I probably could get choked up if I kept talking about it because I loved it so much. And like I was looking up some information on the actual like Vlad the Impaler. And I really hope that in this book series, however many books it's going to be, that Lada and Radu's relationship does not go the way of Vlad the Impaler and his brother Radu's relationship actually went, because it was not good. The moral of the story is that I just really cared about these characters like a lot, and that is what it takes to make a 5-star read for me. I mean, and the writing was well done as well, which plays a part. And I am just so excited to read the next one. And I don't know how many books there's going to be total, but I hope a couple. And I hope that it continues being awesome because, yeah, I really am invested in what happens to these characters. All right, that is all. Try to keep this as concise as I could. Let me know down below if you guys have read this and what you felt about it, if you didn't love it so much or if you did. If you haven't read it yet but you plan to, I definitely suggest putting it towards the top of your TBR because I want everyone to love it. I mean, not everybody's gonna love it as much as I do, of course, but yeah, I loved it. Okay, that's all for now, guys. Thank you so much for your time, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.